Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy that owns Fendi axed this whole Fendi lineup for men. This one right here, Assoluto, wasn't on shelves for too long. It was right before they started axing these whole fragrances. So it didn't really have a chance to shine. And now all these Fendis are being sold at discounters for approximately $15 to $35 American, give or take. I'm here to sniff them out. I've already sniffed out the Pour Homme version. Today is going to be on Assoluto, and I'm going to let you know if they are worth your hard-earned money. Let's get into it. What's going on, YouTube fragrance family? Welcome to another Robes 08 fragrance review. Today I'm going to put my nose on the house of Fendi and a flanker to the Fendi Pour Homme called Fendi Assoluto. Now let's take a look at the stats on this one. It hit the shelves back in 2014. Bottle sizes 1.7, 3.4 ounce bottles. Concentration eau de toilette. Flankers. This is a flanker, of course, to Fendi Pour Homme. There's also an aqua version of Fendi Pour Homme, just an FYI. So it is a trifecta of a series. This fragrance is recently discontinued, a few years back actually. Group to C woody spicy fragrance. And pricing, you can get this for, again, this is not retail anymore, $15 to $35 online at discounters, especially if you live in the United States. TJ Maxx or Marshalls may have this in the bargain bin, so definitely take a look out for that. First and foremost, before I get into the meat and potatoes of the fragrance, I want to thank my partner, FragranceX.com, for Fendi Assoluto. You can purchase this fragrance and the whole lineup of Fendi on their website. You can utilize my sweet code ROBES08 and get 15% off. So let's take a look at the note breakdown on this one. In the introduction, I have pink pepper and cardamom. So two notes that are very, very popular in the men's fragrance game in the recent coming years. In the mid, we have sage, agar wood, also known as oud, patchouli, and vetiver. And in the base, we got tonka bean, a popanax, which is a sweet myrrh, and what note does not look like it belongs? It's citrus absolute in the base. Where'd you come from? Major notes to my nose here. I would have to say this fragrance has a popanax is one of the major factors, tonka bean and cardamom. Now on to my application for Fendi Assoluto. One on the chest, two on the neck here, and two on my arms. The one thing I noticed with this fragrance is, again, that's 5 sprays. You can put more on because it is fairly light on my skin. After the first few hours, this thing is very fleeting. But at the same time, I feel like that's a waste. You can save those sprays, put them in a decant, and reapply later on. I feel like this is one of those fragrances, I'll let you know, longevity and projection, not so great on this fragrance. Great scent though. The introduction is very, very nice, very warming, comforting as a scent. Definitely a fall and winter scent. Not really for winter in these Canadian winters. It doesn't have enough push to it, but fall definitely. Cooler spring nights and things like that. So let's get into the introduction of this fragrance. And the introduction of Fendi Assoluto, one thing that this thing did that the older brother Pour Homme did not do is it felt like it has that alcohol introduction that cheaper fragrances have, and that requires time to burn off. So once that removes itself, it shows its warming qualities. It's very warming. There's a spicy quality, there's a woody quality to this fragrance, and of course you got that pink pepper and cardamom, but it's very warming immediately on my skin. You cannot see this as a summer scent. I'm not going to sugarcoat this fragrance at all. I just wanted to mention that this fragrance does smell very synthetic to my nose, and I'm not going to hide it in any of my fragrance reviews if I feel it is a factor. Someone that is huge in this fragrance game, that owns multiple fragrance bottles in the hundreds perhaps, may not gravitate to this fragrance because it has synthetic qualities to it. Now, when I mean synthetic, there is synthetic fragrances that are to a fault. Case in point, there is one note in the fragrance game that if it's synthetic to a fault, lavender, it will smell like dishwasher liquid or a fleecy to put in the dryer. To me personally, it's just that I have that thinking, and I don't want my fragrance to smell like that. And it makes the fragrance, it degrades the fragrance in my nose, for my nose only. It may not be for you, but for me, it does. It degrades the fragrance, especially in a lot of lower end designer fragrances. Now, this fragrance is synthetic, but it's not to a fault. I feel like it works in this fragrance. It gives you that overall idea. And synthetics, again, synthetics are in all our fragrances, including niche. I don't care about price point. It's not just designer fragrances, and I'm saying, oh, designer fragrances are synthetic. No. That's not what I mean. Synthetics are used in 99.9% of the fragrances that I review on my channel. So I'm not hiding that fact, but some fragrances, like case in point, a cedar base fragrance. Some fragrances have like a woody base. You can't really pinpoint what wood. It just smells woody. However, there's fragrances out there that have cedar wood in the note breakdown, and it really does smell like a 2x4 cedar plank is right in front of your nose, and it just has all those nuances. So it smells very authentic, and that's when I talk about it's still a synthetic, of course, but at the same time, it smells very authentic to me, and that's where I discern kind of quality. And it doesn't have to be niche or designer. It's all about the actual fragrance itself, and it doesn't matter about price point. So I just wanted to mention that it does smell synthetic to me, but it works in this fragrance. So on Fragrantica, this fragrance I felt was really interesting was that a lot of fragrance reviews also on YouTube state that this is the oud-based scent. That is the major note in this fragrance. I personally felt this was more a cardamom, a Papanax based scent with tonka beans and pink pepper taking those secondary notes, and not the oud. And that's where I'm going to get to synthetics. The oud in here is almost just a woody base to the fragrance. So when Fendi opens up, let's do a double spray here just to remind me again, because I've kind of went on a tangent with the synthetic. When Fendi opens up, very warming qualities, like I said, it opens up with cardamom. That is the first note that hits my nose, and it gives its familiar warming quality that it does in a lot of fragrances. It's nutty, it's sweet, it's a bit woody to the fragrance. This is paired with some pink pepper, which I feel is always a very good or excellent complementary note to any fragrance, and it is very popular in many men's recent releases, which pairs with cardamom, which is also very familiar. So this fragrance may come familiar to you because those two notes, cardamom and pink pepper, are very, very popular these days. With that, this is where the woods come in, which would make me think of the agar wood, the oud. It's closer to a cedar to me than a oud, but we're gonna go with it. We're gonna go that it's agar wood in this fragrance. But it felt more cedar-like than anything to me. There's a mild powdery aspect in Assoluto, which whiffs through the heart of this fragrance. Now, deeper into the heart, more into the dry down of the fragrance moves towards more of the tonka bean and a Papanax. The tonka gives this fragrance some powdery aspects, but also that vanillic aspect in scents, which starts being a strong secondary note. You're going to start losing some of the spicy aspects in Assoluto more into the dry down from the opening. It starts getting a little greener here and woodier with the addition of course, the patchouli and the vetiver. The tonka, I felt, gave this dry down a creamier take than the opening. So it started getting a little creamier, a little smoother than the opening. Don't get me wrong, this fragrance as a whole, once that initial alcohol blast comes through, yeah, it's very smooth throughout. Even though it has a woody aspect to the fragrance, it is very, very smooth. One thing I noticed while testing this fragrance is this scent came off much, much sweeter on one of my strips, and on my skin it was more balsamic, which was very, very interesting. This fragrance kind of plays a little bit of games with me, and when dissecting this fragrance, I really wanted to make sure that I let you guys know what I'm getting. But it's funny, on the strip, very different. The sweetness very much stands out in this fragrance on the strip. On my skin, don't get me wrong, there is some sweetness on my skin, but more balsamic. Now, what brings off that balsamic feel to this fragrance is the Papanax. So the Papanax is the culprit. It gives this scent, of course, some sweetness, and its calm, myrrh-like qualities. It runs throughout the scent and is also the reason for the fragrance that has balsamic qualities with a buttery vanillic touch to the fragrance. I believe rather than the oud being the central theme here, like it mentioned on Fragrantica, I would suggest the opopanax was the central theme in the Fendi Assoluto. To note, I notice citrus absolute as one of the base notes in the note breakdown of this fragrance, and I never felt anything citric in this fragrance at all. I might have felt a mild orange feel to the fragrance. That's the only thing I could really pinpoint, but I think that was my nose trying to find something citric. I really don't think it had any citric qualities to me. I really don't see it. It may feel like a citric like finish to the wood, perhaps. Overall, the Fendi Assoluto is a solid starter fragrance, a starter darker scent for someone that needs something for the fall, for someone that's just starting out in the fragrance game, or someone that has a budget, which can be a piece that you can wear from time to time. This fragrance is in the vein of being compared to Dirty English. Also in the mix, I wanted to throw in that it has a little bit of, it feels like Dolce & Gabbana The One with a little bit of The Potion by D Squared. Don't get me wrong, these two fragrances are both superior to this, and that's why they're much more expensive. This one's very, very nice. The woody and the spicy aspects in this are in there. I really feel it, and it does have that same vibe as the one. Now, I'm not comparing this fragrance to those as a scent profile. It's just the same type of DNA. So very, very interesting as a scent. Now, if you own this particular fragrance and you know it's getting discontinued and you're looking for maybe stepping up in the fragrance game, because this is a $20, $30, maybe you're looking for something a little more 50-ish dollars, take a look at the One or Potion. I feel those are superior scents, and those would be my recommendation. But at the same time, I still feel that this is a very solid scent overall. I believe at the price that Fendi was asking for this fragrance back in the day, asking retail, I understood why it did not do well in sales. There's so much better as far as a retail price, but at the rock bottom price that it's at now, and this is the lowest it's going to get, is very solid to almost a steal for anybody purchasing this fragrance. Anyone looking for an oud in the designer realm, because this is, of course, in Fragrantica, it is an oud-based scent, and kind of see this as a $20 grab in the oud game, I would suggest otherwise, because to me, it's not to my nose. Recommended age, I would suggest 20 plus, but to the teens out there, if you're looking for something a little darker, it just has some maturity to it. But at the same time, for your budget, this is a solid grab in my personal opinion. Best time to wear this fragrance, it is, I feel more of a casual use for nighttime. Seasons, I think this one's built for fall, spring nights, and also summer nights. It just would work very well if it's a little cool out, not too cool. But as one of those summer nights, spring nights, I think it would work very, very well. As far as development, is this linear, average, or complex? Fairly linear to average. There's not much movement to this fragrance. Work appropriate? I don't see it. It's more of a date night type of scent. Signature scent worthy? It could be. It could be, but again, keep in mind it is discontinued. So let's get into my rating system. Let's see how this fragrance does. Projection and longevity, this is where it hurts. Projection, I never had much of an oomph to this fragrance. It really didn't project. 3 bottles out of 10, it is below average. Longevity, same thing. It is hard to push this at 5 hours. So I'm going to give it 4 bottles out of 10. It goes from 3 to 5 hours on my skin. Compliment factor, when people smell this fragrance, when they smell this fragrance, and that's the key word, when they do smell this fragrance, it does well. 7 bottles out of 10. Uniqueness, 5 bottles out of 10. I don't think this is a unique blend in my eyes. There is some things like the opopanax that will make this a fragrance stand out, but pink pepper, cardamom, tonka beans, this is notes that are very much in our fragrance game, and you can find something that will do this better in the designer game, definitely. Pricing versus what you get, I'm going to give it a higher score, 7 bottles out of 10, just because we're forgetting retail now. At the price it's at, it's not going to get any lower. It's just going to move on up now, or it's just going to get super hard to find. And that goes to versatility, 7 bottles out of 10. I think the versatility is fairly high here at 7, just because I think you can wear this spring night, summer night, and then kind of put it in more into fall. Depending on your, of course, the weather there, where you live. Winters could also be appropriate. For me, the winters, this is a no-go. It's too cold, and this thing does not do anything on my skin when it's that cold. That goes to smell. This scent is pretty good. I'm going to give it a 7 bottles out of 10. And that goes to an overall score. The Fendi Homme Assoluto is going to get 6 bottles out of 10 from me. A little above average. The price point really helps this one, I'll be honest. If this was retail 70 bucks or higher, it would not help this fragrance review at all. So 6 bottles out of 10. This fragrance is a definite try. It all depends where you're at in your journey, how many fragrances you own, the temperature that you have, and all that. It all encompasses of what this fragrance would be for you. But if you own this, I would not be hating on you. It is a solid fragrance for the price. Now, thank you for watching my review on the Fendi Assoluto discontinued fragrance that is right now at its lowest price point. So get it while she's cheap. And as always, please comment below if you have smelt this fragrance, you own it, you hate it, you love it. I love hearing stories behind the fragrances I review and how you feel about the fragrance. Especially, and this review I think is really good for people out there that is looking at this and it's more expensive than 35 bucks. Be warned, right now, as I'm shooting this fragrance, you can get this in the 20s for sure. So thank you again for watching my review. And remember, please, a greater pour fragrance will make a lasting impression. Choose your scent wisely. Thanks for watching.